a video on me having a faff around with something. So, I was thinking about porchetta, and I was thinking that you use a loin of pork, and the probably reason that you don't use a belly of pork because it's a little bit too fatty, and if you're tying something up like belly pork, the fat's not really. It's going to be very difficult for the fat to escape out of it. So I was kind of thinking, that's probably why you use loin. And then I was kind of thinking, well, if you were to make a porchetta, I haven't pronounced that correctly, I know, out of a belly pork, how would you kind of do it? And I was kind of thinking, well, what we could do is we could cook the pork belly, and then afterwards let it go cold, let it set, then slice it into discs, and then fry it so it kind of crisps it up, and then that would kind of render the fat out. And then I was kind of thinking, well, doing it with pork belly is very, very nice, but probably doing it with bacon would be nicer, or a not marinated, when it's a salt solution, brining. Yeah, so I make bacon every year. I've made videos. It's really kind of quite interesting and an easy gateway into making charcuterie. So this is my bacon joint, and then the end bit, I've squared it off, and then the end bit is this bit. So this bit's going to be like the practice bit to see if this kind of works with a bacon joint. So it's been brining for 2.5 weeks. Normally 2 weeks is fine, but I've just had a little bit too much on recently, so it just stayed in the brine a little bit longer. And what I do is I put it in a vacuum pack bag. So I've made two. So that's one that's still in the vacuum pack bag. But this little bit is just the end piece. So we're going to use this as an experiment. I didn't want to waste a whole bacon, so we're going to tie this up. And these are the elastic bands that you get with chickens from the supermarket. They're normally tied up with these, so they are heat proof. So we're going to tie it up with this rather than doing fancy knots, because I can't be bothered with that. So I want it to keep its shape. So if we do it like that, that's kept its shape that way. Oh, there's just a little bit of fat there, which I've just scored away, and then so it's not attached. I'll have to show. So there's just a little bit of skin there, so I've just moved that away from the fat, so it's like that, and then that wraps over there like that. So it's not going to look too pretty because it's a scraggly end bit of the pork belly, but we'll see how it turns out. And there's just a little bit of an experiment, just a little bit of fun. And then I kind of thought, well, actually, you can get there is a bacon that you can get which is wrapped up. Just need to turn that pan off on the back. So there is bacon that is wrapped up, so potentially we could actually buy some dry cured bacon and do it. And because we're going to poach it in some liquid, that would draw out the excess moisture. And then let's go around this way, because it will want to keep its shape as it cooks. So we need to wrap it up a few times. It'd be alright if we were using string and we were tying it up, and it was a bigger piece. It would be a lot easier to kind of do, but this is going to want to warp as it cooks. And then what we'll do is, as it cools, we'll just lay something heavy and flat on top of it, and it might just keep its shape a little bit better. No, that doesn't want to go there. Let's go there like that, so that hopefully will keep its round shape to some extent. Maybe we'll put another one round top, like so. So they're like a little joint as it cooks, and then we can always square it off. So that's kind of the idea. But what we'll do is when it's cooked, we'll just tuck that bit of fat in. We'll take a nice slice. We'll neaten it up, but you'll see anyway. So that's that. I think that'll hold together-ish. It'll shrink, it'll move, but hopefully that'll keep it together. Oh, that cloth was just to dry off the excess brine. And then we've got some stock. which is just some chicken stock that I pulled out of the freezer. So, is there going to be enough stock? No, and the pan's not going to be deep enough. I need a different pan. This is why I don't think I've got a deep pan. No, it's fine. We'll put some more stock in, and then with the lid on, yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, so we'll put some more stock in, bring it up to a gentle boil, and then slowly simmer until it's cooked all the way through, nice and tender, and then we're back when it's cooked. So it's had about 3 hours, and it's held its shape pretty well. So if we stick a skewer in, it goes in pretty easy, and it well, it wanted to fall off earlier. It doesn't want to do now, but around the outside there, that's pretty tender. So it's held its shape. I'm not going to press it, which I would have done. I would have put it in a let it cool down. So let's think our way through this. So if we were to take that out of the stock now, what would happen is it would dry out through the water would the cooking liquid would just kind of want to pour out of it, and there'd be evaporation, and we'd kind of lose moisture. So if we leave it in that stock for a little bit before it cools down, and let it cool down a little bit, it will retain a lot of its moisture. Let's have a look at this. So we've got that fat on the top, and it's quite jellified underneath. We'll use that fat to fry it. Although that's probably not a good idea, because it'll start to spit and splutter, because there's going to be some liquid in that. But we'll see. It might caramelise it. No, we'll just give it a go. It'll be fine. But that fat will be absolutely delicious. Yeah, I might need to render that off a little bit before we start. I'm not being too careful. I'm quite hungry. And I'm taking far too long. My videos are far too long. Right, where are we? I might just be able to scoop the fat off the top of that. That stock's set lovely and solid. And it looks like it's stayed pink, which is what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to pull the fat off the outside, the skin off the outside. You can cut it off beforehand, before you cook things, but it comes off easier. And it means that your knives don't have to be quite as sharp, and you don't have to be as skilled with a knife. So let's just take let's get that. If we cut into the string, we'll end up with little bits of string left over, which we don't want. So a bit of a faff, but it looks like it's going to pull some of that skin off at the same time. Tastes good. It tastes good. Yeah, we'll have to render. We'll have to pour that fat into another container. That's what we need to get off first. I should have just cut them off, shouldn't I? But I'm not really a fan of. Here's one I did earlier. If I'm going to make any mistakes, I don't want to shy away from them. There we go. So there's those bits of string. We'll just be careful with a smaller knife. Yes, we have. And then just be able to cut that skin away relatively easily. And leave some of the fat on, if there is some. Let's use a bigger knife. Let's use a bigger, sharper knife. Yeah, that's the only downside. The only downside is that we left bits of skin where the strings dug in. There's bits of skin in there, so I need to take that out. I don't necessarily want to eat that, which would be why you cut the skin off before you cook it, but that'll do. We can go too far with things, so square that off and see how it looks. That looks alright now. That's alright. How's it taste? Like ham. So, this is going to be nice, is this? Now square that edge off. And square. And cut it in half. And then we'll have a proper look inside. Alright, see, so I'll be able to get more of that skin off. So we'll neaten that up. And we've still got that fat on the inside, which rendering that out is always going to be a difficult part. But as you can see, when we fry it in the frying pan with some of that, just the fat and not the liquid, hopefully that'll render out. So I'll neaten that up and then we'll fry it and then we'll see what it's like. Right, let's have a look. Oh, look at that, that was good. That looks good. I mean, it's not going to be for someone who doesn't like a bit of fat. They look good. So, let's carry on cooking those. And then cook a bit of polenta to go with it, I think. And then we'll give it a taste and see what it tastes like. So, I've made some polenta. I used the stock that we poached the pork in. So it's, I put too much cheese in. But it's very nice, it's polenta. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for this. Let's see what it looks like. So, it's pulling to bits. It's not going to be for people who don't like fatty things, you know, so it's going to have that fat there in connective tissue, which most people are not going to like, and it's probably why you don't make porchetta out of belly, because there's that fatty bit there. A lot of the fat's rendered out of it, but it's still not everyone's cup of tea. So, how's it taste without fingers? That's lovely. That's really nice. I suspected it always would be, but the problem is that fat there, which not many people are going to like, apart from me. But it's lovely. So, is it practical? No. Is it practical? No. I suppose we could faff around and we could trim some of the fat out of it, but I can't see the point in that. But most people aren't going to like it because of the fat content. But I think that is lovely, to be honest. I'd eat that all the time, but not for everyone. So, a success for me, probably not a success for everyone.